Welcome to Free Mind Reviews. This is Chris Johnson with a review of The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man is the latest adaptation of the classic H.G. Wells story, obviously about a scientist who goes invisible and basically becomes one of the classic Universal Pictures movie monsters, along with, Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, etc. Now, of course, everybody knows Universal Pictures has been having a tough time about adapting their classic monsters lately. Dracula Untold went nowhere. The Mummy was supposed to be another attempt at doing the Dark Universe, and that was terrible. So, when it was announced they were going to be doing The Invisible Man, it was like, yeah, alright, okay. But something turned the corner when they announced that Leigh Whannell was going to do it, because Leigh Whannell, I've been a fan of course, ever since he and James Wan got into the game. Ever since Saw, which Leigh wrote and starred in, by the way, and have been a fan of Leigh's ever since, including the awesome Insidious films. Of course, Leigh started to direct himself with Insidious Chapter 3, but it was really Upgrade, his second film, that made me go, oh, well, wow, okay. I guess Leigh is as capable as James is. And of course, James himself moved on to the Conjuring films. He directed Insidious as well as the first two Insidious, as well as Saw 1, Furious 7, Aquaman. He's had his own great career since Saw 1. So when it was announced that Leigh Whannell was going to be doing this film, I got interested, but at the same time, at first, I was slightly disappointed because of how original and pleasant and small budgeted Upgrade was. I was kind of hoping for something in the same vein, but him doing, instead of him doing an IP. I am so happy to say that those initial early hesitant feelings were completely unwarranted, because this Invisible Man is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, this new version of The Invisible Man stars the great Elisabeth Moss, if you've seen Mad Men or the Handmaid's Tale, you know who that is. So she plays a woman who's escaping an abusive relationship with her boyfriend, who happens to be a genius scientist. Then come to find out a couple of weeks later that the boyfriend is dead, kills himself, and leaves her a fortune. Or so we think. All of a sudden, of course, she starts getting terrorized by a mysterious entity that we cannot see, and neither can she. And that's the basic gist. But my God. First off, Elisabeth Moss is so intense, so raw, gives you everything she has. And, oh man, it just completely dominates the screen the way Toni Collette did in Hereditary, the way Lupita Nyong'o did in Us. This is now the third year in a row, I feel like, a lead actress completely takes this horror movie role and just completely dominates it in a way people have been dominating roles in great dramas that get nominated. And of course, she won't get nominated because it's a horror movie and blah blah blah. But I'm trying to say, I think she was that good. Her intensity, her raw edge, when completely sells a woman who's been completely mentally and physically abused by this man and needs to escape, and then completely sells her psychosis breaking down more and more and more as this invisible force is terrorizing her, and no one believes her. Another thing I was so impressed about this film and how it goes about this story is the fact that they take the story and makes it a female protagonist, makes it from her point of view, and makes it a domestic violence survivor. And it really, in doing it the way they do it, they really showcase not just the physical aspect of abuse, but it was really the mental aspect of the abuse that really, really, really shines, because this being a horror film, and think of an invisible man as like a ghost, right? And what do ghosts do? Like the paranormal activities, like, for example, or the Conjuring movies, or Insidious. What do these ghosts love to do? They love to torment their victims. They love to mentally break you before they go in for the kill. Whether it's for enjoyment or strengthen their power, like Pennywise, the same thing in it. So for a domestic violence abuser who was mentally abused or as well as physically abused, because that's what that entails, right? For her to survive that and then all of a sudden start to be abused again, especially mentally, by an invisible man, an invisible force, and then none of her friends, sister, friends don't believe her, as she slowly, slowly, slowly begins to lose the grasp of her psyche because of the actions of this man. It was such a brilliant way of mixing in real terror that real domestic violence victims go through, and mixing it with horror movie sci-fi elements. The merging of real terror with movie terror is perfect to me in this film. Absolutely perfect. And then in a year that's started so horribly for the horror genre, with The Grudge and The Turning and The Boy and Fantasy Island all being terrible, a few of them not even trying to be scary, and the others trying but falling flat on their ass. It was so appealing to watch a horror film that is it just gives you a sense of dread and foreboding from the first shot. You are tense. From the first frame, your heart is beating. Whether it be how the shots, the framing, and the shots and the composition is set up. Which, mind you, James Wan nails. Mike Flanagan nails. John Carpenter nailed from back in the day. The great horror films of the past nailed how to use your frame to set up your terror and your fear and your character. And The Invisible Man does that perfectly. Whether it be the sound design, the quietness of a certain aspect, the boom, but not like jump scare boom, but like boom to set up the mood, set up the atmosphere, you know? Great sound, which is something James has been excelling at lately. Leigh nails in this film. Character. You don't know too much about the character of the Invisible Man. And you know what? That's a good thing, because in staying in her point of view and not knowing much about him, for the exception of how horrible he is and was to her while he was not this invisible man, just makes him even more terrifying, and what he does even more terrifying when he is this invisible man. You hate this son of a bitch. And I feel like movies, or entertainment in general, whether it's been movies or TV or wrestling or whatever, have had such a hard time in making you dislike the villain. catch yourself rooting for the villain. And now we're having Joker movies where people are sympathizing with a character who murdered a kid, beat him with a crowbar, and blew up the building before Batman can get there. Or in Harley Quinn, who helped the Joker in one storyline, kidnap a Robin who was a young boy, torture him, break him mentally, and transform him into a little Joker. We're not rooting for these characters who are pieces of shit. Let's be honest. So it was so appealing to get a film with a villain who they do not attempt to sympathize with at all, who do not attempt to make us understand, oh, this is why he's the way he is, oh, he's not that bad. No. This Invisible Man is an evil, abusive, manipulative, vicious piece of crap. And you are completely with her, completely on her side, completely rooting for her to be believed, to survive. And about time, another horror movie where you were completely on the side of your lead hero instead of thinking, oh, look how stupid this person is. Because how would you do against this person that you can't see? You can't even simply say, oh, run, bitch. Because it's like, you don't know. They could be running side by side with you. Could be running like Usain Bolt, just staring at you like, hey, what's up, sucker? And the greatness of how the film is shot, where sometimes the camera is moving, the camera's following somebody, it seems. It gives you that normal following dolly shots, and it's like, wait, I can't see anybody. But it doesn't matter if you can't see, because that person is there. It's a dolly shot of a person that you can't see following it's crazy. The way this movie is shot. And that was the thing. Upgrade was so incredibly shot and incredibly edited. The cinematography was breathtaking in Upgrade. So you couldn't wait to see what Leigh would do next. And the fact that he shot this the way he shot it. Sometimes the shot would just go and it would focus on a corner of a room. And you would normally go, why is this focused on this empty space? Because the space is not empty. It completely puts you in her wavelength of going, oh God, there is someone there. And then when the violence actually happens, it does such a great job of building up dread, of building up, oh God, is this person there? And then once the stuff happens, it's just, oh shit. There is some fantastic wonders in this film. Fantastic use of camera techniques and edit techniques, just like with Upgrade. And when he, just like what James did when he did Aquaman, it was like, oh my God, look what he's been doing with $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. And then they gave him a $200 million budget, and he just went crazy as a director. He directed the hell out of Aquaman. When Leigh gets that type of budget, holy crap. Because look what he's doing with $7 million. I can't believe this cost $7 million. How did this only cost $7 million? This is a breathtaking film. It is a breathtaking film to me. Visually, acting-wise, writing-wise, subtextual-wise, editing-wise, music-wise. The score is incredible. The score is absolutely incredible. They used the same composer who did the scores for the two It films and co-scored Blade Runner 2049. This score, for me, should be legendary. Stayed during the credits, not because I was expecting something after the credits. Of course, I usually stay during the credits to respect the filmmakers, but it was just listening to that gosh darn score. Tense, intimidating, just like the rest of the movie. This movie was the jolt and the kick in the nuts that this year needed, that the horror genre needed. Leigh Whannell, you are a genius. Elisabeth Moss, you are an acting goddess. Everybody involved should be proud of themselves, should be patting themselves on the back, should be sucking their own dicks. I don't care. This movie is incredible. The Invisible Man, I cannot believe how good this film was. This film was amazing. This film was beautiful. This film was incredible. And you know what? Hey, not everybody's gonna like every movie. And I'm not going to go as far as to say, hey, if you don't like this movie, we can't be friends. But hey, if you don't like this movie, we just can't talk about it. I'm sorry. Because I thought it was absolutely positively amazing, and the way it builds to itself, and the way it builds to its characters, the way it builds to its surprises. I'll just say I will never forget the night I saw the 2020 version of The Invisible Man. Go see it.